It's a party and you walk in
Oh,
and you make some friends, and that experience lasts for a lifetime.
is open source and how it is different from the closed source?
So this is a question which I get a lot from the community and the students around who are starting with open source. Open source is uh, basically you develop the software and you put it out for the community, and they help you to identify issues and improve your software. And in that process, you make good contact with better developers than you. And some people might have a better insight on your product, so they might also add in something. So, all in all, it improves the maintainability and the quality of your product when you open source it. But how it is different from closed source, the closed source communities work in the way that they have the idea and they build the product amongst themselves. They share it amongst their company or the organization or the community. You cannot interfere with it. You cannot see the source. They do not disclose the source, and they have pretty tight legal bounds also on the products, on how you can use that and how you can distribute it. And open source is a bit liberal on that side. Most of the softwares are free, and when you talk about open source.
Okay, so as you say that open source is free, so why do people contribute to open source? I mean, like if we can generate revenue by the closed one,
Yeah.
then why should someone devote time to open source?
See, this is something which is very, I guess, misleading to say that open source softwares are free of cost. Like, you can use the software for free, but there are companies, like you have seen companies all around, even GitHub. You can use GitHub for free. But now, when you go and try to upgrade the plan to a pro version or a team version, you see a paid pricing tag right there. So you can open source your projects and people can use them for free. How you can monetize them is a very different aspect. You can either convert them into a SaaS model, which is a software as a service, which a lot of the companies do. There are two things which in your question I see. The first thing is, why should I contribute to open source when it is completely we cannot generate any revenue? So from a contributor side, if I'm a contributor and I see I devote my time into open source, that is not more because of I can generate revenue. It's because I get to meet a lot of people who are more talented than me, and I can learn from them. And if I, as a product owner, try to open source a project, so I would allow the users to go and use it for free for a lot of the part of the project. But if I need to monetize it, I'll have a different business model for it, right? I'll have something like a pro feature or subscribe feature to my project. Suppose if you want to use certain features, you need to subscribe to my product for a
Yeah.
monthly or a year. So that's how I can monetize it.
Okay, so now coming to your GSOC part, can you explain to our audience what exactly is Google Summer of Code?
I would like to go a bit off definition, or maybe not exactly at the definition what Google provides for GSOC. I'd say it's a party and you walk in
Oh,
and you make some friends, and that experience lasts for a lifetime. So that's how I define GSOC. It's not particularly an internship. It's not particularly just a program. Yeah, Google defines that as a program because they started it as the way to promote open source. It started around 15 years ago. And then that time, open source wasn't very much famous, right? Open source became famous in the last few years when people started connecting to the world. Okay, GitHub is something. So at Google, when it started, GSOC, it started as a program where you apply to the organizations which are there. And then when your proposal gets selected, you work with them closely for approximately 4 months till last year. Now it's about, like, I guess 3 months which you'll work with them. Maybe you will be building something new. Maybe you will be improving something which is already present. Or maybe you will work with them closely on improving or adding some new features to the product they already have.
okay. So I was asking, what is the eligibility criteria for GSOC? Like, can an absolute beginner participate? And also, if not, how familiar they should be with the concepts of programming?
So, see, there are two parts to this question. The first part is what is eligibility criteria? The second part is can an absolute beginner get into GSOC? So for the first part, I'll say that earlier it was confined to people who were in university, who joined a university, and it was not very much flexible in its approach because it took a lot of time. It took around 3 months to 4 months of your dedicated time, and you had to devote more than 30 hours a week. Now, since the change pattern, they have made the criteria more flexible. You can be in college, master's, PhD, or you can either be in a licensed boot camp also. If the first to final year students are watching this, you are eligible anyhow.
So, okay, moving ahead, like we all heard that you should start creating PRs from the month of November itself. What's your take on this? This is regarding GSOC.
If people are suggesting you to just go and make PRs in November, I'd say don't listen to them. Okay. Why they are maybe saying like that? Because I'd say first go and try to use the software which you are trying to contribute. Once you use the software, and then after using that software, you find that you relate with their mission. Okay, you relate with what they're doing, what they're trying to improve in this community, and you feel strongly about it. Then you can go and approach the mentors and say that okay, your software is doing really good right now, but I was just concerned about if I can maybe add this feature to this software. It's not like you go just directly and see any issue and just create a PR. That would be so hard for you even. And you can target the issues which are saying good first issue particularly. They might label it as good first issue. Many of my projects even have good first issue tag. With my description, I add that tag that if a beginner would be able, who has not read much of my code, would be able to solve this or not. Okay, first go, use the software, see what it's about, learn about the community, and then do it, right?
Okay, so let's take a question from the YouTube. Okay, so there Soumya Ranjan Mohapatro, he is asking, how do you present your topic to the organization registered under GSOC? What are the developers actually looking for, and would it be better if we choose from our projects they have picking one on our own?
Most of them would have a topic registered already, and if the topic isn't registered there, if you don't see a topic there and you're very well aware of the software, then only go and suggest something. I'd say that would have a more chance of your project idea being moved forward into their roadmap. And if not, you can just go and read about the project ideas, because they have been working it on some months, and then after that only they write that project, and which they feel is fit for the students to solve, right? Join their Slack channel, join their Gitter, join their any IRC which they are using. My favorite one is Slack, which I use personally, and which Sun was also using. So most of them you can join. If you aren't able to join, you might find email addresses of people. You can email them also, that I have been seeing on your project and I want to add this particular thing to the project. Is it okay for me to add that? And how should I go about it? You should also ask them, how should I go about it? Don't just go searching and finding and hunting for organizations just for the sake of GSOC. You'll definitely lose motivation soon enough, like sooner than you even think of. And motivation is a very big factor in completing GSOC, because there are sometimes deadlines which you will not think that you will be able to meet, but ultimately if you're motivated enough, you will push yourself, and the mentors will also push you towards completing the project, else it might lack somewhere. I don't have any preference in particularly going into lesser known organizations or more known organizations. What matters for me is what the culture inside the organization is. If you are not getting help earlier, it's very hard if you'll get help later on. So that might be a red flag.
Kavi Suri is asking, how should I go about understanding big open source code bases once I know the open source workflow?
Kavi, I would say that make VS Code your friend, because for beginners, VS Code is really good. While understanding good code bases, I understood very maybe with experiment. I understood this with experiment. I cloned the repository. I went onto the main file. I saw what all functions were used there. I just had a right click. There is an option which says show all occurrences, and then I went to click on that, and then I got where all that was defined, that particular function where it was used. So I started understanding the function bit by bit. Start with something, maybe a subset of their project, and you ask them that if I want to work on this particular thing, suppose if you are working with VLC, you want to improve their time bar which is there below, which helps you seek time in a video, and you want to work on that, just contact them and say which part of your code base is dealing with this particular time seeker, right? So they'll maybe guide you towards the particular file, and then you start from that file, not from the main file. Pick one end and then you grab everything and then you move towards the center. Okay, it's like navigating inside a web.
Aditya is also asking how much community bonding plays a role in selection. Does your proposal and contributions are enough?
Even if you have one contribution and you have good communication inside the community, your chances to get selected are maybe much higher than the person who is just contributing without communicating for maybe 3 to 5 months. Because there are people who can code very well, but they are not so good in communicating with the mentors. Those students generally become very dormant during the coding period, and that becomes a pain for the mentors to catch up. So you should bond with the community. That's what you are there for. Remember, it's a party. Socialize.